Hey everybody, welcome back to Sip&Talk. I'm Joe. And as always, I'm ready to dive into some seriously juicy info with you all today. It's like we're mixing up a knowledge cocktail here. Strong stuff, but oh, so smooth going down.
And I'm Sunny, your friendly neighborhood fact checker. I'll make sure we get all the ingredients right. Speaking of mixing things up, you know it's always a good blend? Travel whiskey and discovering awesome new things. You have to check out our friend Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life.
Yeah, Mickey's the best. He's always got something cool going on.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time zone you're in. Welcome back to Sip and Talk.
Yeah, welcome back everyone. Always great to be here.
So today we are jumping straight into a frankly wild question submitted by one of you Sip and Talkers out there.
Oh, it was a brutal question. I actually loved it.
Right. It basically asked if Taiwan suddenly lost its silicon shield, its massive semiconductor dominance, what on earth is their survival strategy?
Yeah, the listener essentially said, you can't just rely on a single chip card forever, right? Which is a totally fair point to make.
Exactly. I mean, to me, this question is almost like magically removing Michael Jordan's jumping ability and then asking if he can still play basketball.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
It feels a bit unfair, but it forces a really crucial conversation about over-reliance.
It really does. And honestly, it's a vulnerability that defense strategists and economists argue about relentlessly.
Because it's dangerous, right?
Oh, absolutely. In pure economic terms, when an entire geopolitical entity relies on one incredibly successful export, you risk what's known as Dutch disease.
Wait, Dutch disease?
Yeah, it's where that one booming sector basically sucks all the talent, capital, and oxygen out of every other industry.
Ah, I see. And in cybersecurity and military defense, you'd just call that a massive single point of failure.
Right. You sever that one node, and the whole system theoretically collapses.
Theoretically. But I think that assumption is exactly where a lot of international observers get it completely wrong.
I agree. We get so blinded by the glare of that silicon shield, the massive fabs, the nanometer tech, that we just assume underneath it there's just a void.
So our mission for this deep dive is to completely remove those microchips from the equation. We are going to look at the actual operating system running underneath.
Yes, we're going to temporarily strip away the shiny stuff.
And from the geopolitical and sociological analysis we've been tearing through, the real survival strategy isn't a physical product at all.
Not at all.
It comes down to three core layers: extreme supply chain flexibility, a totally new civic identity, and the digital defense of cognitive sovereignty.
So let's test that first assumption. If we magically erase the semiconductor industry overnight, are we just left with empty factories and a collapsed economy?
Yeah, what is the actual bedrock there?
Well, it's not empty factories. What you actually have is a highly trusted, rapid iteration, basically invisible supply chain ecosystem.
Invisible supply chain. Walk me through that.
So, in their local culture, there is this historical concept known as the Black Hand spirit.
Black hand, like a mechanic.
Exactly. Traditionally, this referred to the greasy hands of local mechanics, craftsmen, and blue-collar workers.
Okay.
These were people who were insanely resourceful. They would roll up their sleeves, reverse engineer machinery, and figure out how to fix or build absolutely anything with whatever scrap parts they had lying around.
But wait, I mean, modern tech manufacturing is the exact opposite of greasy mechanics, right?
Right, yeah.
We are talking about pristine clean rooms, people in those full-body bunny suits, microscopic precision.
Totally. And that is the fascinating evolution of it. That gritty, problem-solving Black Hand energy didn't just disappear, it upgraded.
Oh, so it became like the DNA of their high-tech manufacturing.
Precisely. Today, that invisible ecosystem is dominating crucial electric vehicle components, complex drone assembly, precision machinery, biotech.
Okay, that makes sense.
The defining characteristic isn't the final product. It's extreme, almost unnatural flexibility.
I'm going to need you to speak in human terms for a second, not just abstract economics.
Fair enough. Hit me.
How exactly does a network of factories pivot that fast? Unpack the mechanics of that flexibility.
Okay, think about it as a massive decentralized WhatsApp group of specialists.
Okay, I'm tracking.
Let's say a global client sends over a completely unreasonable, highly complex blueprint for a drone motor today.
Right.
In most countries, a massive corporation would take months to retool one giant factory to make it happen.
Sure, corporate bureaucracy.
Exactly. But here, you have an invisible web of small and medium enterprises or SMEs. You've got a metal fabricator, a micromechanic, and a software engineer passing these blueprints back and forth at 2 in the morning.
Oh, wow. So they troubleshoot the physical engineering problems on the fly.
Yes. They can modify that design thousands of times within a single week and immediately push it to mass production. The trust and flexibility costs are incredibly low.
Okay, when you describe this rapid iteration network, it basically reminds me of a highly adaptable open kitchen restaurant.
Oh, I like that. How so?
Well, they aren't just famous for one signature dish, like the microchip. Their actual superpower is that the chefs can instantly invent, adapt, and mass-produce whatever weird craving the customer has.
Spot on. And they can do it without burning the kitchen down.
Exactly.
That open kitchen analogy is perfect. And this flips the entire global narrative on its head. The semiconductor industry didn't just magically appear out of nowhere.
Right. It's the result of this fertile, flexible soil, not the cause.
Exactly. The chips are the bloom, not the root.
Okay, so if the economic value is built on a shared way of doing things, like this hyper-collaborative mindset, how does that shift how the people actually define themselves?
That is the million-dollar question. Because this shift in the economic bedrock triggers a massive shift in sociology.
We're talking about the post-globalization new identity.
Yes, we are watching the real-time formation of a completely new identity.
See, this is where I get a little skeptical, because traditional national narratives usually rely on things you can't really change, like bloodlines, ancient geography, or, a shared history of suffering.
Right, but that is exactly the vulnerability. In the digital age, anchoring your identity to ancient history or bloodlines makes you incredibly easy to manipulate.
Oh, because someone else can claim it.
Exactly. If your whole identity is based on who your ancestors were, an external power can easily weaponize that to claim ownership over you.
Interesting.
But the sociological data shows a profound pivot toward what political scientist Benedict Anderson called imagined communities.
Moving toward a civic identity.
Yes, civic identity. The glue holding the society together is no longer just where we came from, but rather what lifestyle we actively choose.
Okay, give me some examples of that lifestyle choice.
It's a shared belief in democracy, gender equality, multiculturalism, and a mutual defense against authoritarianism.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here because honestly, that sounds a bit cold.
Cold? How do you mean?
Well, are you saying they were just replacing thousands of years of deep emotional heritage with a sterile values contract? Like, don't people still care about their cultural roots?
Of course they do.
What about the Lunar New Year? What about the food, the traditional festivals, the language? Isn't it dangerous to completely ignore historical ties just to build a new identity?
I mean, your reaction is completely natural. But geopolitical strategists highlight a crucial distinction here, the difference between cultural freedom and political sovereignty.
Okay, unbundle that for me.
Celebrating traditional festivals, speaking the language, watching historical dramas, that is fantastic. That is the beauty of an open society. You have total cultural freedom.
Right.
But a modern identity must be based on a values contract. Just because you share a cultural heritage with another country doesn't mean you must share a government with them.
Ah, I see. So if you base your identity purely on ancestry, you automatically exclude indigenous populations, new immigrants, basically anyone who doesn't fit the genetic profile.
Exactly. This values contract is the strongest antidote to being trapped by traditional bloodline frameworks.
But here is the massive catch. That newly formed, value-based identity, that is exactly what external forces are trying to hack.
Oh, absolutely.
The new battlefield isn't physical. It's happening right inside your smartphone.
Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
This is arguably the most urgent threat they face, and it ties directly back to our Sip&Talkers.
Right. The listener who wrote in specifically asked about cognitive sovereignty.
Yes. How do you defend yourself when cultural labels are weaponized against you?
Like when someone online tells you, if you don't use this specific app, you're closed-minded. Or if you use this specific term, you're brainwashed.
Exactly. This is what cybersecurity analysts call FIMI, foreign information manipulation and interference.
And what's the actual goal there?
Well, what's fascinating is understanding its true mechanism. People often assume the goal of a state-sponsored troll farm is to convince you to believe a specific lie.
Like they want me to believe the sky is green.
Right, but it's not even that. The goal is to make you doubt literally everything.
Oh, wow.
They want you to think the banks are failing, the power grid is collapsing, allies are abandoning you.
It's like Okay, think of democracy as a restaurant where anyone can walk in.
Okay, I love your restaurant analogies. Go on.
So one guy walks in and yells, "The steak is poisoned." And then another guy shouts, "The boss just ran away with all our money."
Right, and suddenly all the actual customers are panicking.
Exactly. And the government spends all day debunking these crazy rumors instead of actually cooking the steak.
That is a terrifyingly accurate metaphor. Once a society loses basic trust in its institutions, the democratic process just grinds to a halt.
So how do you fight back without just shutting the restaurant doors? Because the knee-jerk reaction would be censorship.
Right. But if you ban speech, you violate that democratic values contract we just talked about.
So what's the alternative?
Instead of top-down censorship, Taiwan leans heavily into what's called civic tech.
Civic tech, like grassroots stuff.
Exactly. These are citizen-led movements like G0V, spelled G0V, and platforms like vTaiwan.
How does that actually work in practice?
They use open-source tools and artificial intelligence to find consensus instead of amplifying division. A key system they use is called Pol.es.
Wait, they use AI? Because usually, social media algorithms are the absolute villains in this story.
Oh, for sure.
They reward rage and push the angriest voices to the top just to keep you clicking.
Right, most algorithms reward rage. But Pol.et works differently. It groups people mathematically by how they vote on various statements.
Okay.
Instead of showing you what you're fighting about, the AI visualizes a map of the debate and actively hunts for the overlapping gray areas where people actually agree.
That is wild. It mathematically pulls the conversation toward consensus.
Exactly. But for really fast-moving, malicious rumors, like a deepfake video or a lie about a bank run, they employ a strategy called fast, fair, and fun.
Fun. We're talking about state-sponsored psychological warfare. What is fun about that?
Humor is actually the ultimate defense mechanism. The strategy dictates that a malicious rumor must be debunked within 2 hours.
That is incredibly fast.
It is. But instead of releasing a boring, dry government press release, they use memes and humor.
No way.
Yeah. They attach the factual correction to a hilarious meme or a cute dog photo, ensuring the truth goes viral faster than the lie.
They are literally fighting geopolitical disinformation with dog memes. I absolutely love that.
It's highly effective.
But I want to contrast this real quick because not every country handles this the same way. What about a place like Singapore?
Singapore is the perfect counterexample. They have a completely different operating system.
What's their strategy?
Singapore relies on a law called POFMA, the Protection from Online Falsehoods and Manipulation Act. It's part of a broader strategy called total defense.
How does that work mechanical?
It is entirely top-down institutional order. If a false statement goes online, government ministers have the authority to swiftly mandate a correction notice right next to the post, or just force the platform to take it down.
Oh, wow. So Singapore relies on swift, government-led correction to maintain stability.
Yes. Singapore prioritizes institutional order, whereas Taiwan relies on bottom-up citizen resilience.
That makes total sense. Okay, this brings us to the climax of the listener's question, and honestly, it's the most intense part of the analysis today.
The ultimate question.
Yeah. I want to deliberately turn up the heat here and adopt the perspective of a terrified citizen.
Go for it. Let's play devil's advocate.
Look, if the cognitive war is this exhausting, and the physical threat of conflict is looming over us every single day, why isn't surrender a valid option?
Oh.
I mean, if we share the same language and the same festivals and we are terrified of conflict, why not just concede for the sake of peace? Why do we dismiss this as unpatriotic when it's a completely real human fear?
That is a very raw, emotional argument. And it is exactly the emotional vulnerability that cognitive warfare is designed to exploit.
But it feels logical to a lot of people.
It does. But when geopolitical strategists look at this, they issue a very cold reality check. Conflating shared culture with political sovereignty is a massive cognitive trap.
Walk me through the logic of that trap.
Let's use an analogy. Americans and the British share a language. They share a deep history and celebrate similar holidays.
Right.
But the United States does not belong to the United Kingdom. Sharing cultural DNA does not mean you are legally or morally obligated to share a government.
Okay, but what about the historical territory argument, the narrative that this land has always belonged to the empire?
The analysts absolutely dismantle that empire narrative. If international law operated on the logic of ancient imperial borders, the Mongol Empire once controlled massive chunks of Eastern Europe.
Oh, true.
But that historical fact doesn't give modern Mongolia sovereignty over Ukraine today. Furthermore, the analysis points out a stark historical reality. The current government in Beijing has never actually governed Taiwan for a single day.
Not a single day.
Not one.
So what is the actual cost of surrender, then, if peace is the goal?
The research is brutally clear on this. Surrendering does not buy peace. It buys the destruction of the social contract.
Oh, so?
The analysis points directly to Hong Kong as the prime empirical example. Authoritarian promises fundamentally lack independent legal checks and balances.
Right.
When you concede, you are giving up the fundamental right to choose your own lifestyle, your own courts, and your own laws.
Wow. Okay. I can see the logical point entirely. But, looking at all this, from the invisible supply chains to the civic identity to fighting disinformation with dog memes, I think there is a crucial philosophical victory here.
What stands out to you the most?
The true strength of this new identity is the fact that you and I can literally sit here in a podcast studio, openly argue about whether or not to surrender to a superpower, play devil's advocate.
Right.
And then when we're done, we can just walk out and go grab a late-night snack together.
Exactly. No one is coming to arrest us for having the conversation.
In a closed society, even asking the question makes you disappear.
It's a profound realization.
So bringing this all back to the listener who started this journey for us today.
Yeah, to synthesize it all.
The Silicon Shield is just the most visible result of an open, resilient, and fail-tolerant society.
Exactly. If that shield disappears tomorrow, the society's true worth remains in its people, its trust, and its institutional flexibility.
So, to all you Sip&Talkers out there, we want to leave you with a provocative final thought to mull over on your own.
Something to really think about.
If the world suddenly didn't need your country's biggest economic asset tomorrow, how would you define your society's worth when others stop defining it for you? What is the core operating system of your own community?
That is a phenomenal question to ask yourself.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Please make sure you subscribe to Sip&Talk so you never miss a conversation with us.
It's been so much fun unpacking this.
And before we go, a massive shout out to our old friend Mickey. Make sure you go subscribe to Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life.
Yes, definitely check it out.
There are some hilarious memes and the absolute latest travel vlogs that you do not want to miss. Have fun over there, and we will see you next time.